Hello again. Today we're going to see is how we can monitor the RAN or vRAN network in this case from telco companies in SevOne. So what we want to show or demonstrate with this demo is that even though SevOne is not a RAN tool, there are lots of RAN specific tools in the market that will do a better job in monitoring the RAN network. Normally, the vendor tools for the specific domain will do a very good job. However, in SevOne, with our ability to monitor all the network data, including all the domains, what we can offer is an end-to-end visibility of the whole telco network. So yes, RAN is going to be very important to monitor, and we have lots of features that allows us to monitor RAN, but we don't want to focus on monitoring RAN only. We can do that, as you will see in the demo, but the main value that we can bring to the table is how to offer this end-to-end visibility, how to monitor the RAN, how to monitor the transport, how to monitor the core, how to monitor the internet connections, basically everything. So if you have a problem with one of the technologies, let's say 5G or a specific slice in 5G, for example, we have end-to-end visibility. So maybe not the problem is not in the RAN, maybe it's in the network, maybe it's in the transport. I don't know, it's anywhere. So that's the value that we can bring with SevOne, along with all this machine learning, the flexible reporting. So we don't have to focus on only RAN-specific networks. We have to focus on the network as a whole. That's the main value that we can bring. And that's exactly what we're going to show in this demo. So the story is that we're having some issues, that some 5G users are having issues in terms of internet speed. We think that that's because of the RAN that we're having some issues. So we have hired some RAN engineers. We have seen some issues, but we cannot find why this is happening. Now, with an end-to-end solution like SevOne, we're going to be able to see that maybe the issue in the RAN is not because of the RAN itself, it's because maybe there are some other issues on other areas of the network. And that we're going to show today. It's going to be the topology. And let's jump directly into the demo. And the first thing we're going to do is go to this report, the telco network report. This is a new report that we have, very, very basic, that shows us in a very high level the status of our network, of the telco network in this case. So as you can see, we have different domains, RAN, transport, core. You have the total alerts generated in SevOne. You can see for each of the domains how many alerts, based on the specific devices, which are the devices that are having more issues. And actually you can see that the CSR is struggling a little bit, and the actual alerts. The good thing is that if, for example, you are a RAN engineer and you just want to focus on the RAN, you can do it very easily. Click here and everything will propagate, and you can see this only the RAN issues that you're having. Or for example, you want to see RAN and transport. Very, very easy, you can do it. You can also do it this way. You can select from here, say, look, I want to see RAN, telco, and transport, for example, everything. As you can see, as soon as you click here, everything highlights, and you can see all the information. This is good, but this will give you like a very specific domain focus view. And sometimes you don't want to see the domain by itself. You want to see the whole service. Well, we can also do that here. If you go to technologies, here we have another way to filter technologies. You can see you have the alert. You can see that it's 4G, 5G, and actually you can choose it this way. For example, we mentioned before that the use case is that we're having some issues on 5G. So if I select 5G, now you will see only the alerts relating to that particular service. So yes, you can see that some of the devices are involved on the 5G network, like this CSR. We have the vRAN from Samsung. We have other devices as well. And you can see here the alerts that we are having. Also, you can see, for example, remove this. We can see all the devices of the network, and I can focus on the domains. I can see all the objects. Just we give you all the access that you need to all the information. But let's go back to technologies. Let's go back to 5G, and let's see what is happening here. And actually, I can see here that the main issues are with the vRAN and with the CSR, as we saw before. And actually here, quite easily, you can see that on the vRAN, I can see that we are having a couple of issues with, actually, if I select it here, cell 31, I can see some issues also with cell 18. So possibly cell 31, transmission, accessibility, maybe RSSI, I will have a look. But I will focus on these two issues because are the ones with the highest severity. If I go to the CSR, I can see that actually, look, the interface 0010, 0010, 0010 is happening here several times. So there are some alerts. So possibly what I will do is focus on these two devices, on these objects, to see what's going on. But as the main alert here, the most critical alert is the Samsung vRAN in London on this specific transmission issue, that's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to drill down. I'm going to have a look on what information I can get from that. So what I'm going to do is I'm here, go to the vRAN Samsung report. And here, look at this. We can see all the cells assigned to this device, this RAN device. We can see all the alerts. If you want to focus on a specific cell, you can do it from here as well as from here. If you want to, for example, focus on the cell 31, you can see all the information here. Or if you want to focus on any other of the cells, you can do it this way. Or for example, you want to see everything, you can also do it here. So before we start troubleshooting the issue, let's have a look at the information that we can get from the RAN network. As you can see here, we can get a lot of data. Normally, one of the problems that we have with RAN is that it generates a lot of information because you have a lot of cells, you have a lot of objects, you have a lot of indicators per object, and that is not a problem from us. And also, the other problem that we have is that normally the data, it doesn't come in SNMP or any of the other protocols. It comes in different protocols like CSV files, XML files, API calls, and so on. That's not a problem from SevOne. In SevOne, we can collect the data from any source. As long as the data is available, we can collect it. We can transform it into a format that SevOne understands. As you can see here, we are collecting a lot of data. Actually, just to show you here, if we go to the all objects, this is all the information that we are capturing from this device, lots and lots of objects. Let's focus, for example, on cell 31. Let's focus on the status. You can see here the objects and the status. And let's select one, for example, this one here. If I want to see more information about this specific object, I can drill down. And you can see that we're getting a lot of information from this object. You can see here, this is simulated data, and you can see all the information that we're getting here. So SevOne can cope with all the data that we can capture from the RAN network. We can get, we would say, millions of KPIs per second. That's not a problem. SevOne have the capability of doing that. And to understand the data and capture all this data into a single tool. Another thing I wanted to highlight before we start troubleshooting the issue is also the capability of creating new KPIs. For example, here what we're doing is very simple aggregations, total number of calls, total number of handovers, as well as averages. For example, this is a very silly KPI, average handover time. This is to show that SevOne has the capability of creating our own KPIs. And these KPIs can be within the same object, can be between different objects, between different devices, even between different domains. As long as we have the data in SevOne, we can create our own formula to create this new KPI. And in this case, there are two very simple concepts, simple formulas like totals and averages and so on, but we have full flexibility to create our own KPIs. And this can be aggregated by site, by city, by state, by location, by vendor, by cell site, by anything you need. We can create any aggregation at any kind of level that we want. Full flexibility to create our own formats. As you can see here, it doesn't matter if the data come to, we create it from our ourselves, or it comes directly from the device, we have the same functionality as the rest of the metrics. So we can get here, for example, baseline information, we can get here anomaly detection, we can create reporting, we can create alerts, the same functionality as the rest. Okay, so if we go back here to the snapshot, if you remember, we had issues with accessibility and we had issues with retransmissions. You can see here, you can see the transmissions and we have accessibility. So let's have a look at them. For example, let's go to, let's start, for example, with retransmissions. That is the higher problem. If you come here, look at this. We have here all the cell sites, and we're having some information. And this is a very, very good example. What is happening here? As you can see here, in some of the cell sites, for example, let's select, I don't know, this one, cell 11, it's actually quite normal that the retransmissions goes over 1%, as you can see, it's quite high. Whereas, for example, if you select cell 31, you can see that normally is less than 1%. However, we can see here a spike. That actually is the spike that we have in the issues. This is something very important because SevOne is not focused on generating alerts based on static thresholds. Imagine that we say alert me when the metric is the transmission is over 1%, for example. Well, what's happening here is that, I don't know, imagine that the cell 11 is in a shopping center and there is a lot of people at this time because it's the afternoon. So it is normal, there are lots of retransmissions. Do you want to get an alert when something normal is happening? No. What you want is to get an alert when something not normal is happening, when a problem is happening. And how do we know that? Well, SevOne, with our machine learning, we understand normal behavior. And what we can see is that, whereas, for example, let's go to this metric. Let's go to the cell 11. You can see that this is normal behavior, because you can see that the metric is always more or less within these boundaries. Whereas if we select cell 31, and we say transmission, so if I try transmission is going to be easier, and I select the same metric, that is this one, the DL transmission retrans 0, you will see that this is not normal. Because this is not normal is because we now, that's the reason why we are generating the alert. Because we have this anomaly detection that is saying, look, this is not normal. You shouldn't have this level of retransmissions at this point in time. That is allowing us that, remember that we have hundreds and thousands of objects, millions of indicators that we're collecting from this network. All this data, imagine that we have to use static thresholds, that will mean thousands or even more of alerts. But if we use anomaly detection instead of static thresholds, what we're doing is reducing massively the number of alerts that we're generating. So not only the collection is important, is understanding the data. And that's what we do in SevOne. We understand that this is not common, this is a problem, we generate the alert. Whereas in the other situation, let's go back here, this one here, this other cell, this one, this is something normal. Yes, it's going over 1%, 2%, it doesn't matter. This is something normal based on the location, based on the time of the week, based on lots of different factors. This is normal. This shouldn't generate an alert. Okay, so we saw that we have an issue with retransmissions. Let's have an issue with accessibility, because maybe the same. Well, and here you can see very easily, this is the green line is the cell 31. Again, the same cell. We can see that, yeah, we are having problems here. And again, this is something that we can see if something normal or not. What we can do is go here, go to the data analytics workspace, and this will tell us that, yeah, this is something not normal. Also, we can do some other things like, for example, time over time, if you want to compare with other time frames, or for example, calendar analysis is something I like. Sorry, I selected the wrong one. Here we have to select not that option, but this option, the data analytics workspace, red to green. So yeah, apologies for that, I forgot. But yeah, it's very good to remember that on the accessibility, what we're going to do is choose this other, because when we go to calendar analysis, what we see is green is 100%, which is good. And then all the others are in red are problems. So yes, this case, the calendar analysis is also very useful because as you can see, it tells us if there is any pattern. As you can see here, what we're doing is generating different patterns. That's why it has this kind of weird pattern. This is because we simulated it. Okay, the thing is that I can see some correlation between the retransmissions issues and the accessibility issue. How can we correlate both data together? Well, this is another of the benefits that we have in SevOne. What we can do is now go to the instant graph workspace here, and then let's correlate data together. So what I did is correlate accessibility with retransmissions from the cell 31, and then we're gonna get the DL transmission retrans 0, as well as the sum RRC connection established successful percentage. With these two metrics, you can see, look, when we're having the issues with the connections, with the accessibility, is at the same time that we're having the issues with the retransmissions. That's fine, but the problem is that these are the only two symptoms that we can find on the run. The rest of the run is working fine. We don't have problems. And we can spend, or we have spent a lot of money with run engineers trying to fix the issue, readjusting the antennas, working with the channels, and nothing is working. And why is that? Because the thing is that the telco network is not only RAN. We have different domains. And maybe the issue that is impacting the RAN is not generated in the RAN. Maybe it's in a different section. How can we see that? Well, you remember on one of the steps before, we saw that we have the Cisco CSR, we're having an issues with some specific interface. Maybe that interface is impacting here. So how can we do? So now what I'm going to do is not only going to select the vRAN, I'm going to select the Cisco CSR. And then what I'm going to do is, look, I'm going to check for cell 31, what is included. And yeah, for example, I'm going to get accessibility. I'm going to see what else has cell 31 assigned to see if there is any correlation. And if you scroll to the bottom, look at this. The interface that we mentioned before, the 00010, has on the description that is connected to the 5G of the cell 31. So actually, this kind of looks very promising that maybe the issue is generated by this. Which were the alerts? Well, you focused before, the alert that we have an issue, the problem was that low traffic and high errors. So what we can do is start with errors, for example. So I'm going to put here errors, as well as accessibility. So is the percentage of connections. So we have it here. So let's put these two into context and look at this. There's a spike, a minor spike here of errors, which is fine. But look at this. When we're having the accessibility issues, here I can see that the errors are going up. That's very, very interesting. I also saw that we had some issue with the traffic. Okay, let's have a look at the traffic. So what we're going to do is remove total errors and see total traffic and see if there is any correlation. And look at this. It looks like here, look, it looks like the pattern, like the traffic is going down. How can I know if this is normal or not normal? Well, what I can do is from here, I can go to the data analytics of this KPI. Let's see the baseline. And this is going to tell me, look, yes, this going down, this low traffic is not normal. It should be here. So actually, yes, I can see that there is a low traffic on the interface. I have lots of errors that possibly is impacting the RAN network. Why are we having this? How can I know that? Well, let's see what other metrics I can get from this interface. And if you scroll down again, you will see the voltage. And actually, I think I saw an error with the voltage. So what I'm going to do is select the voltage now and select, for example, the percentage of accessibility with voltage. And look at this. There is a big correlation between a drop in voltage and the issue with accessibility. So now I understand that because we have a problem with the voltage of the CSR, that's impacting on the speed of the interface and on the errors of the interface, and that's impacting on the number of people that can connect to that cell and also the retransmissions that we're having. So all the dollars spent on RAN engineers trying to fix the issue that we have on the RAN are wasted money because the actual issue is not in the RAN, is on the CSR. That's why having a full visibility, end-to-end visibility of the service is going to be much more beneficial for us. It's going to allow us to be much more effective, more efficient, and fix issues faster before become a problem. Otherwise, if we just have domain-specific data for each of the different support users or NOC users or so on, it's going to be much more difficult to have this kind of cross-domain information. It's going to take much longer to fix the issues that we have. Now we know that the issues with the voltage, we can clean the interface, we can change the optical interface, we can do whatever it needs to be fixed. That will fix the issues at the CSR level as well as in the RAN level. And with this, we finish the demonstration where we showed that having all the data in SevOne end-to-end visibility is going to be very beneficial. Okay, SevOne is not a RAN-specific network. We don't have lots of adapters built out of the box for the RAN solutions. But having all the data here is going to allow us to be more effective, to find information faster, not only because we can get all the information together, but also for the other capabilities that we have, like a correlation of data, anomaly detection, machine learning, fast reporting, and so on. And with this, we finish this demo. Thank you very much for listening, and see you next time. Thank you.